Hello and welcome to my virtual music room. Now today, rather than doing a tune, I thought I would show you me baking my grandma's secret recipe banana cake. So secret that I'm about to put it onto YouTube. I have it on a scrap of paper here. It is in Swedish, so I'm going to have to translate it as we go through. So the ingredients: 1 egg, 1.5 deciliters of sugar. I have a deciliter mug here. I will weigh it out using scales so I can give you the dimensions. In either weight or in milliliters if it's liquid. You're going to need 4 matskeds of cream. I tend to use milk. Now, what is a matsked? Now, I've always used a normal spoon that you just eat your pudding with. I guess this must be the same as this one, which says dinner spoon, and this one, which says tablespoon. Which one's a matsked? Probably the bigger one. However, I just use a normal spoon that I eat pudding with, which, according to this, equates as a dinner spoon. That's the one I'm going to use. If that's right or not, I don't know. Well, that's what I use. I never knew that there was a bigger size, to be honest. Not being much of a cook. So I'm going to need 4 of these of cream or milk. I use milk. 1.5 deciliters of butter. 2.25 deciliters of flour. Again, I'll weigh it out. Half a teaspoon of bicarbonate and 1 teaspoon of barkpulver. Again, I've only ever done these in Swedish, so I have here bicarbonate of soda and baking powder. So barkpulver, 1 tesked of baking powder and half a teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda, bicarbonate. And then 1 teaspoon of vanilla sugar. Now, usually I have vanilla sugar, but I had it so long I decided it was time to get rid of it, so I've just got some liquid vanilla bean extract. I'm sure that'll do just as well. So let's get going. So instruction 1 is whisk the egg and the sugar together. I have an egg, I have a fork. I've always used a fork, I have a bowl. So here we go. Egg into the bowl. There we go. Just whisk it up. Show you whisking it. Then the sugar, 1.5 deciliters. If I put the bowl on some scales, I can tell you what it is as I add it in. 1.5 deciliters of sugar. 1 and a half. There's a line on the inside telling me where the half is. So there's 1.5 deciliters of sugar is 150 grams of sugar. So whisk them together. I suppose you could use a whisk. I've always used a fork. I'm not sure how old I was when my grandma showed me how to make this. Can't remember. 8 probably. So then I have to mush the bananas and mix them with the cream, milk and melted butter. I am going to mash the bananas. I have my 2 bananas. I have a plate to mash them on. So you literally just take 2 bananas, and I take the fork. This is probably why I use the fork rather than a whisk. And I just mash it up. You can't see me mashing that, so... Well, you know what a mashed banana looks like. There we go. So, it's 1 mashed banana, which was properly mashed. Yeah. 1 mashed banana. Second banana coming up. So that's 2 mashed bananas. Quick stir. And now it's going to be 4 matskeds of cream or milk. So I'm taking my usual dinner spoon, tablespoon, after pudding spoon, whichever spoon. So it's 4 of these. So I don't need to convert this into any other, well, it's a spoon. So, and I kind of splosh it in a bit, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Back on that. That's 4 of those. Then I have to do the butter. So now it's half a deciliter of butter. I'm going to go and melt the butter before I tip it in here. I will need butter later on. So although it's going to be half a deciliter, it can be more than that because we're going to need some much later on. Some butter. I shall go and melt that. So now I'm going to add half a deciliter of butter, melted butter, which I melted on the hob. Let's check that. Half a deciliter of butter. So I'm going to just zero the scales so I can give you this in weight. So half a deciliter coming up. Let's hope I did enough. Yes, half a deciliter of melted butter. 40 grams. So that's 40 grams of melted butter went in there. Mix it all in. Blender, blender, blender. Mix, mix, mix. Okay, whilst I'm mixing, so mousse a banana in a blender, make red dot smelted spirit. So that's mash the bananas, mix with the cream or milk and the melted butter. Mix in the flour and bicarbonate, the bicarbonate of soda and bark pulver and vanilla sugar. So there we go. Next is 2 1/4 deciliters of flour. Normal flour. I will just zero the scales so I can give you the amount in grams. So that is 1, 2 1/4. Okay, that's about 1/4. Before I mix that in, I'm going to add my bicarbonate of soda, my baking powder. So it was, this is bicarbonate, half a teaspoon. Put it in. And 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Gone in. Great. Now I'm going to mix that all together. So that is now all mixed in. Kind of looks like this. I don't know if you can see it. I don't want to tip it up. It's go everywhere. Don't want that. So that's all mixed in. Now that's the first stage. Now the next stage is we are going to use a cake tin. I've got a cake tin that looks a bit like a donut. So I can stick my finger through the middle. This is the traditional Swedish banana cake or sockerkaka cake, sugar cake. Or any sort of cake that the Swedes have. This is very traditional. I got this from IKEA, I think. Probably. I don't think I bought it back from Sweden. I think I actually bought it in IKEA. So we are going to use breadcrumbs. I have breadcrumbs that I bought in Sweden, but if you don't have breadcrumbs that you bought in Sweden, you can't really buy them over here. You just have to make it. So get a piece of bread and mash it up in a blender until it has the consistency pretty much of sand, very, very finely chopped breadcrumbs. In order to prevent the mix sticking, we're going to put some of the rest of the melted butter, if we did enough. If not, go and melt some more butter now. So we're going to basically paint the inside of this with melted butter and then tip breadcrumbs over it, and that gives it a lovely consistency and also stops it sticking. So I'm just painting the inside of the dish with melted butter. Trying not to let it go everywhere and trying not to let it pool in any one place. It doesn't have to be a cake tin that looks like this. This is the very traditional Swedish cake tin. You can just use any old cake tin, as long as it's the right size. And what is the right size, you say? It is the size that the mix fits in nicely. I've always had one of these. So This is my second or third that I've ever had. Because they eventually go, they eventually perish. Not perish, rust. This one's metal. So that is nicely painted. Now I'm going to take my breadcrumbs and I just sort of gently tip it down the side. Alright, you will tip too much in. And then down the middle. I mustn't forget to do the middle. I have done that. And then there is. So then you sort of shake it out around a bit to make sure that there's no bits without any. Go. So now I've got my cake tin nicely breadcrumbed. I'm going to put in the mix. So now I'm going to put it into the mix. Come back to sorting out that. Okay, so here we go. I have put the oven on, so the oven is preheated. The oven is preheated to 175 degrees for 40 minutes. I think it's usually quicker than 40 minutes. So that's all in there. Cake mix. Now it's time to go and put it in the oven, and 40 minutes later, let's see what it's like. So, how has it turned out? Let's tip it out and see. Oh, steaming. Now I know this is for an event, but I'm going to have to open it up and have a look and have a try. Oh, looks amazing. Okay. Now those eagle-eyed amongst you will spot I forgot to add the vanilla. Not sure I can tell. Add the vanilla at the same time as the bicarbonate of soda and the baking powder. And maybe it adds a little zing to it. But yeah, I forgot to add it. It's great. So that is my grandmother, my mum-in-law's banana cake recipe. Give it a go. Let me know how you get on. Thanks for watching. Bye.